decisions days? Or am I using an old?
Nope, I cleaned it.
Well, Morgan, you're here, so maybe maybe we'll get a bunch of people to join. Everyone likes you. I think you're the favorite host. I think you are the most favorite host right now.
That's too sweet. I don't know if that's true, but I appreciate it. I would say that the Monday, Tuesday will time is at least my favorite. So
That's very nice of you. You are clearly the favored one here. Hey,
just
welcome
lucid
everyone.
charts.
Lucid charts. Welcome everybody. Sorry, we're getting started a little bit late here. I bet we're still in the post. We don't have any pre-submitted questions today, right? Yep. So if you guys have any questions, let us know. All right. Go ahead, Alex.
Hey, Will,
how are you today?
doing?
I'm doing well. How are you today, sir?
Good. Yeah, I've got a ticket open for this, but I was hoping to speed the plow. It's a fairly simple thing. I've learned that for every independent decisions environment, I need an independent agent server.
Yes, that's correct.
To handle internal requests and that sort of stuff. I'm just trying to get like a spec on the what the minimum requirements are for that server for a 2019 Windows server. Like, can I go with like a minimal configuration?
Yes. Oh yeah. It just shepherds requests. It doesn't do anything big.
If I have 8 gig of memory, 2 CPUs, and 100 gig of C space, that should be adequate.
Absolutely. 100. Yeah, it is. It's very, very lightweight. That is a great question. And yes, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
It can't be that easy, is it?
Yeah, it's really that easy. I just, I just wanted to get this thing spun up today, so I didn't know whether I'd get a reply back from support, but now I'll just close the ticket.
Wonderful. Yeah. Okay. No, easy. It could probably even be like less RAM than that if you can find like a server that is less. I mean, it doesn't use up any resources at all. It's quite lightweight.
Okay, great. Well, we're all in a VM space, so
sure.
If I just put it at 8 and it only uses 1, then we're going to be what it uses. So
sure.
Okay, appreciate that, Will.
Absolutely. I can actually. I figured it out. This is going to be okay. So 10:11, David question. So what we were trying to solve for yesterday, which would have been October 11th, was there's a flow which is here. Just to set some context for everyone, is how to use the flow execution service and then build up a data pair list of inputs in a flow ID so that we could call any flow, no matter what its inputs are, dynamically at runtime. And so we started that with our primitive example. And just what we did is we built a list of data pairs. Sorry, everyone. My audio just screwed up there for a second. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Sorry. So we built up a data pair list here. where we created data pairs. We then loop that data pair list because when we deal with data pairs, it has an object as a property, and that means we can't set it directly. So then this is what we see here for this for each loop, where we create a string, and we set that string to be our I am a string plus item index, and then we use a set value to actually change the value of the item as it moves through the for each step. So this is us just creating a data pair list, setting the value on the data pair list, and then we pass that into our start flow. And if we look at our start flow primitive, it has a flow that has two inputs, string 1, string 2, and a show pop-up step that then passes those into its subject. And I believe we just have some static text for our body. So if I ran call data pair primitive example, I should get a pop-up, which will then show me I am string 0, I am string 1. Which is what we expect to see. Now, we got stuck a bit yesterday with the complex example, and I really quickly I should have just ran over to Heath's desk and asked him, which is because it's very straightforward. This is complex type. Did I not save my thing? Seriously? How did I? Oh, anyways. All right. I'll just show you the complex type one example because it involves literally 2 steps now. So let me duplicate my tab here. And if we look at runtime test 2 complex, we should have our input is a type there's an input whose name is input of type dynamic test 1. This is a flow structure that we created here, DNY test 1. So first things first, we need to copy its ID. So we'll get its flow ID here. And we'll make sure our flow ID is set. And then what we'll do is we are going to we're going to create our object instance here, which is going to be, input object. And here we'll find our DN test 1. And then we are going to create a data pair list, just like we did before. So I'm going to create a data pair list here. So this will be a DP list. I'll search for pair. I'll set up as list. And then what I'm going to do is build one item of a list. So I'll build array, and I'll do build data. Now name, I'll make it be input, because that's the name of the input. And then object value, I'm going to just pass in dynamic test. And then I'm going to pass the whole data pair list in. What's our validation here? Okay, it doesn't like that. So let's come back here to DP list. Great. Now if I save this, so not run this. Okay, that didn't go through. So I got this working yesterday. Somehow I lost my example. Let's see here. I have input dynamic test 1. So here's my object. Oh, I didn't set anything on my object, sorry. I'm going to create my object. This will be called hello world. And then I'm going to save this and debug. And stink. Let's see here, view input data. So that's input, that's hello world. And then name input, output value. That should be fine. Object properties data pair. Stink. Can't believe I somehow lost this work yesterday. So here's my data pair list. I take in input object, input list. Let me look at my flow here. Show editor, input string 1, input string 2. Suck. What am I doing wrong here? I sent an email. Let me look at this on my other screen. Sent an email to David right after the meeting yesterday with my stuff. Here's see here. Settings on create data step. I created dynamic test. And then, all right, let me just set it up like I had it before. Which was, I didn't do a data pair here. I did build array and item 0. I named this thing input. My output value is data pair object, which is what I called this thing. Data pair object, DNY test 1. That's right. So input object. Oh, it's a list. Oh, that's my problem. Let's see. It's not supposed to be a list. It's supposed to be a single object. That's why I was having issues. All right, so here's my hello world. I'll walk back through this once I get it all set up. I'm like day 2 of futzing around on these calls for you guys. I apologize. Go ahead and allow John to talk while I'm doing this. John, are you just waiting to ask a question, or are you asking about the example I'm doing right now?
No. As you wish. I can go ahead and ask you the token stuff, or I can wait.
Oh yeah, bear with me just a minute, and I'll get to you in just a second here.
Yep, it's okay.
So boom, there's hello world. So, Murray, the thing we were missing before was that we were thinking the object for a data pair had to be a primitive, but it doesn't. It can be, I can pass a complex type into the output value of a data pair. And the input of the flow, I was thinking we had to get data pairs, almost like nested data pairs, where, if I had, let's assume I had input like strings and complex objects as the input to my flow. I would have to get break the whole thing down into some data pair list, but I don't. It's just data pairs, but I just can pass in simple or complex types into the output value property of a data pair. So if I want to call a flow completely abstractly, I can take any type of input and generate data pairs from that list of things, and then pass a flow ID in, and I can execute a flow programmatically. Okay. Regardless of the input type. I actually failed to follow up on the other issue that I worked with Janice on yesterday, so I need to still do that. Apologies. Make a note here.
They both seem like something that I will eventually run across. So I wanted to hear the solutions.
Absolutely. Yeah, let me get back to you on that one now that I just realized I had forgotten to follow up on that.
Thank you.
Okay, so go ahead, John. You got a question about JWTs. Let me post this into the chat. So, all right, what is your question about JWTs on V6, sir?
Yeah, hi. So we were trying to implement JWT on a form we are working on. We want, I mean, it's a flow that opens a form, and we want that to be called from outside decisions to do using the integration, like UI form. And we wanted that to expire after a week. After a week, the link has been generated. So so basically, what I was going to do is use the JWT token to create it just right before we start using that link. Send it on the integration, like the token there on get, and then use the, let me confirm which was the name of the step. just a sec. Get context from the JWT token
Right.
that would receive that token. And
Mhm.
I think that if the token expired, it would give me an exception and I would go with error and just close that flow for the person that is trying to open the link. That is correct. The general, I wanted to confirm first the general idea.
That sounds correct to me. Yes, it does.
Okay, and I was using the direct URL to get the JWT token, which is the URL of the decisions dash primary dash rest dash account service dash login and get JWT token, and you pass there the username and password for the account.
Right. Correct.
That you're trying to create a token. So it gives me the result, and I'm going to send that token along to, as I said, to the flow, and then use the get context step to check if everything is all right. So if that sounds good, what the last thing I'm trying to test, and I'm doing it right now on the flow, is that I'm not being able to change. The first thing I wanted to ask is, I get the token, but I don't know where to change the payload of that token. I mean, if there is a way to change the EXP, which is expire stuff. Right now, I was using a tool here, which is jwt.io to debug the hash. And I see that expire, it's 1 week.
Yeah.
But in the future, if we want to change that, I wanted to know first if
Sure.
there is a way to change it there on the settings. That was the first.
Yeah, you control that in system settings. So it should be controlled. If I look at system settings, portal settings, one of the, is it portal settings? Maybe we move these around. This is 7, so is session timeout. This is where it controls. We apply the same session timeout to JWTs as we do to any other session. So you can control the session timeout from portal settings here under system settings. This is where your 1 week's coming from.
Let me see if I have the same.
You do. This isn't new in V6 or V7. This control exists in V6.
It's called the same way. Portal
yes, exactly
settings.
Right. System settings, portal settings, and if you just search for session, you'll see portal settings, session timeout here.
Okay, I see it here. Perfect. Portal settings, and then the other question. No, I don't think I could, because I was trying to play around with the payload and regenerate the hash, so I can change the expire, because I didn't know I had this available.
Okay.
So
right.
Anyway, if I can do it here, search. I was. Let me check session timeout, 7 days, perfect. So I can change it here and put like minutes and see if it works. And after the expire, the get context from JWT token should get me an exception or an error that says that it has expired, right? Or something like that. That is the idea. I haven't tested it, but just to confirm if it's okay.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, perfect. I will go right that way. Just wanted to confirm all that because I couldn't see it on the documentation, so I wanted to see if I was doing the things right. That's great.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Thanks. That's all for now.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Happy to help. Great question. Thank you.
Thanks to you.
All right. What other questions might we have today, team? show you guys some changes really quick to the in 7.7 to the dependency browser, which we're pretty excited about. So since we don't have any questions right now, if I look back at the work we did yesterday, so David question here, I know that, let me actually just make a relationship here. Actually, let me do it this way. I'm gonna create a folder, dependency browser updates. And then here, I'm gonna create a flow, call this subflow. And then I'm gonna create another flow, call it parent flow. And I'm going to run subflow inside of it. Now, so we have the dependency browser. This exists in version 6 and newer, maybe version 5. I think the dependency browser is in version 5. Heck, it might go back to v4 now that I'm thinking about it out loud. But if I look at subflow and I right click and I look and I use dependencies, browse dependencies, I can see the dependency graph that will show me how these things are used. So I can see subflow is used inside of parent flow. I can click into parent flow, and I can see one of the new things is we've both redone the design here to update it a bit, but now we can see this input data, so we can look at the data that's shared between them. So if I close this and I edit subflow, and I put a piece of string data on this, I'll take this to str1, and I'll do str2. Wow, there we go. Okay, and then I come save. You'll notice that now there's a dependency break here, which is saying that these things are going to cause issues in one of the place in a dependency. And if you click the download, it'll show you the parent flow. So now we're actually calling out where this flow is used at and the change itself, where we need to go look at. But if I save this, come back to parent flow, go to manage dependencies, browse dependencies. Now I can hover over and see the input data. So I can see that subflow takes in string 1, string 2. It outputs nothing, but that there's validation errors on those inputs on that flow. And so I can then click in to this flow. I can click into parent flow. I can then see my validation issues. I'll fix one of them by just putting in a value here, save and close. And now I'll have, let me see, that might not have updated. Let's see here. And now I can see that because I've saved that flow, it's expecting that those pieces have been fixed. So you can both look at input and output data in the dependency browser and see more clearly the relationships between the objects themselves, as well as when you make a change, it'll alert you. So if we remove like string 2 and save this, it's going to let me know that I'm going to affect parent flow. Now I can go edit flow from here and do what I need to do, and then save this. So we're just trying to improve the dependency and breaking change notification behavior in the Flow Designer. So this is in 7.7 right now, and we're pretty excited about making it easier to traverse the dependency graph. You can also look at this inside of the designer here. If you want to click into dependencies, it'll take you into the same place. So, but looks like there's no other questions today. Assuming no one has any questions about dependency graph itself or any of the changes to it. And if that's the case, then we'll go ahead and call it a day today. Appreciate everyone joining, and we will, I think, who is hosting tomorrow?
Jessica Potter.
And Jessica Potter will be hosting tomorrow. So thanks, everyone. Have a great afternoon, and we'll talk to you soon.